tan bobcat skin here. I've got it stretched out the way you want to stretch it out for measuring. I've started at the head. I laid the skin out and I started at the head, and I've stretched everything wide. You want to get as much width as you can out of the skin. Okay, so I'm going to go down the whole skin here. Get this all stretched out good and wide. I've already done it, so it's not, you don't see it moving much, but that's what you do. I mean, really stretch it as good as you can. Okay, and I've got everything in a relatively straight line from the base of the tail, or from the tail all the way out to the nose. Okay, so when I lay my tape measure on there, the nose, and I go to the tail. Okay, so we've got 25 inches. Well, if you remember when we measured our carcass, we had 22.5. This is how much bigger a skin typically is and should be after it's tanned. It should still be bigger. But if you have a cat or a dog, feel how loose the skin is on your pets, and even on a freshly killed, fox or bobcat, whatever. There's a lot of loose skin there, and that's the way you want to mount these. Now, if all you have is the skin to measure, you've got to allow for these things. So, like I say, we had our carcass measurements were 14 by 22.5. I showed you the length there. Now, when you're measuring this, to get your circumference measurement, you want to hit the widest point, and typically that's going to be, like on our carcass, it's going to be at the back rib line there, like right in there. Okay, which is going to be about here. Now, if you see all this here, you think, well, geez, that's the widest. I should measure clear down here. Well, that's 16 inches. Well, it's not going to be accurate, because remember what this skin is. This goes all the way up here and attaches clear up here under the tail. So that relieves all that, okay? So there's your widest point now. So just keep all those things in mind. And we've got 6.5, so that's 13 inches. Now, the other thing is about the base of the tail. When we put our tape measure on there, like I showed you, we've got it pretty straight. Now, if you remember when we measured the carcass, we took and we bent the tail up, okay? And so the actual base of the tail measurement stopped way back in here. Okay, so that's representative. If I move the tail skin on here to where it actually would kind of be, because this skin here all wraps down around the tail there. So it's actually going to be back in here somewhere. But we're still, at least 1.5 inches, couple inches long. Now, like I say, that's how much extra skin you want. Now, my smallest form is a 12 by 24, and I'm going to get that form, and I'm going to do a test fit, and it might fit on there, but I know it's going to be snug if it does fit. So I'm still going to make that form a little bit smaller because I want a nice loose skin. You want a loose skin for mounting. It just makes taxidermy so much more pleasurable and easy, and it's also more correct. So it allows you to move that skin around, taxi that skin around on there, and get things in position where they really need to be, all your hair patterns and all. So okay, so we just showed you how to measure skin, how to stretch it properly to get accurate measurements. I want to show you a couple things here where you might be having some problems, and maybe we can fix some of your trouble. If you just take a skin, a tan skin, and it's good and rehydrated, if you've got a dry tan skin, you want to make sure it's good and wet before you measure. Anyway, you take the thing out of the bag and you throw it on your bench and think, well, I got to measure this thing. So you just kind of lay it out there. There's the tail. There we go. So I've got a bobcat here that's 27 inches. Geez, 27 inches. And it's 11 inches. 11 by 27. And you start looking in the catalog and you just can't really find anything that's even close to that. Now, that's your problem. So, and what can cause this? Sometimes you have a skin that even after you've stretched it, like I showed you a little bit ago, you can still have some problems with it. And part of that could be the way it was handled. If you're sending off to a tannery and you're doing the skinning and fleshing, just skinning alone, especially case skinning, where you're hanging the thing up and you're pulling down on it, you can really stretch that skin out long. So keep that in mind, that when you after you get done fleshing the thing and you're salting it, stretch that thing out widthwise again when you salt that thing, and then you set it aside to dry. Because it can have an effect on the finished product. They can take a little bit of a set, so you want to always keep that thing wide when you're salting it and drying it out before you send it to the tannery. Okay, so keep in mind, if all you have are skin measurements, this girth circumference measurement here can be a very important measurement. It can be actually more important than your length measurement, and you may want to go by that. But if it's like on this cat here, it's, I think we got 13 on it. I would still go an inch less on it. On any, even this small of a cat, I would go a whole inch less. And then look at your charts in your catalog and see what lengths you have and see if they're somewhat close. So that'll give you another way to look for the right size of form is just going by that girth measurement. Another thing we didn't talk about, if all you have is the skin, is the nose to eye. And I don't even mess with nose to eye measurements when all I have is a skin to measure. So I just go by my nose to base of tail and my circumference. And usually the nose to eye is going to fall in those categories for you anyway and give you an idea of what you need there. So.